It began with a careless remark, a throwaway line I delivered without a second thought. We were nestled on the couch, half buried in blankets, lost in the lull of a Netflix binge. He had just teased me about my chronic habit of leaving the toothpaste cap off, that usual playful jab that colored our evenings. With a smirk, I fired back, "Well, maybe I'll just leave for good. No more toothpaste fights." I laughed, expected him to laugh too, for us to move on as always. But his smile faltered. For a heartbeat, his face went blank, expressionless, unreadable. Then he turned away. The rest of the night played out in a slow, aching silence. I assumed he was tired, distracted, maybe just caught up in his own thoughts. We'd exchanged quips like that 100 times before. Why would this be any different? I didn't press him. I thought it was nothing. But deep down, something about that moment felt heavier than usual, like the subtle shift before a storm you can't yet see. When we climbed into bed, he lay with his back to me, a quiet wall between us. It wasn't like him. Normally, he'd wrap an arm around me, pull me close. I told myself again it was nothing, just a mood, just a phase. By morning, he was already up, dressed, coffee in hand, his posture distant, rigid, like someone who had already made a decision. I leaned in to kiss his cheek, but he didn't lean back. No warmth, no softness, just a silent sip of coffee and a brief nod. "We'll talk later," he muttered, then left without another word. I brushed it off, told myself he needed space, maybe a little time. We always talked things out eventually. We always found our way back. But that night, he didn't come home. I texted him. No response. I called, straight to voicemail. With every hour that passed, the knot in my chest tightened, twisting into something unbearable. We'd never gone silent like this before, not even during the hardest fights. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was with a friend. Maybe he just needed time to breathe. But a low hum of fear began to crawl beneath my skin. The next day, I found an envelope taped to the front door. My name, written in his unmistakable handwriting, almost tender. My hands trembled as I opened it, and the words inside hit like a blade. He said my offhand comment, meant as a joke, had cut deeper than I could imagine. He'd been holding on, trying to rekindle the flicker of connection that once burned so brightly between us. But that remark made him feel invisible, unwanted, like he didn't matter anymore. He wrote that he still loved me, but he no longer felt loved. I collapsed right there, letter clutched in my hands, tears streaking down the ink. I sat on the floor for hours, staring blankly at the place where his words had carved themselves into my heart. I played that moment over and over in my mind, his blank stare, the silence, the weight of what I'd said. How could I have been so blind, so thoughtless? The truth unraveled slowly, painfully. I had been distant. I'd been distracted, self-absorbed, caught up in my own noise. That joke, meant to be harmless, wasn't the cause of our collapse. It was a symptom, a reflection of everything I'd let slip. The small affections, the appreciation, the reassurance he needed and never got. I tried to reach him. Dozens of messages, voicemails filled with shaky apologies and tearful pleas. I even emailed him, a digital lifeline we hadn't used since our university days, grasping at anything that might bring him back. But there was only silence. His social media went dark. Mutual friends hadn't heard from him either. It was as if he'd erased himself from my world. I was left in a quiet, suffocating limbo, haunted by uncertainty, aching for closure. In desperation, I started therapy. Piece by piece, it helped me unravel the layers of guilt that had woven themselves into my skin. I stopped blaming the joke and started seeing the truth. I hadn't made him feel loved. I hadn't made him feel seen. That quip about leaving was just a final thread snapping after months of silent unraveling. Then, months later, a message appeared on my phone. An unfamiliar number. One line, "I hope you're doing okay." My breath caught. Tears welled instantly, a mix of relief and heartbreak. So sharp it felt like drowning. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to pour my heart out, to beg for another chance. But fear held me still. After a day of pacing and agonizing, I wrote back, "I miss you. I'm so sorry." What followed were a few cautious exchanges. Gentle, guarded, like two people trying to navigate a bridge that once felt familiar, now foreign. He told me he'd moved to a new city, focusing on starting fresh. He didn't mention if there was someone else. I didn't ask. I couldn't. I wanted to scream that I still loved him, that I was ready to do the work, to rebuild, but the silence between our words told me what he couldn't say aloud. He wasn't coming back. Our conversations faded, not abruptly, but slowly, like sunlight disappearing behind clouds. No sharp goodbyes, just a gradual softening until there was nothing. It's been nearly a year since that night on the couch. A year since I let my own words shatter the man I loved. I've tried to move on. I've gone on dates, sat across tables with strangers trying to laugh, to feel something. But no one feels like him. No one feels like home. Maybe this is my punishment. To carry the ache. To live with the lesson. I've learned that love is fragile. Not something to toss around for a laugh. Not something to test or take for granted. Words, even the ones we think are harmless, can linger long after we've forgotten them. They can wound in places we never meant to touch. Now I weigh my words. I choose tenderness over sarcasm. I hold people closer, even in jest, because I know what it's like to lose someone. Not in one grand, dramatic moment, but in a single breath you never thought would be your last together. Love, I've learned, isn't loud. It's quiet, constant, and it deserves more care than I gave it.